So let's start from there. Do you have a brush where you can see like a body to this? Like a roundish kind of body? See how that's wider and it's round here. This brush is pretty worn down now. Okay, well, let's start from scratch. If you do this stroke like this, that means that you don't have enough liquid on it. No, they're bristle brushes. Okay, so I mean that is a stroke, but for another day. The problem is if you try to create a tree like this, you're going to struggle because you're going to go like this, see, and it gets all fuzzy, and that's maybe where you're I suspect that maybe you may be struggling. So this means either several things. There's not enough paint on your brush, and or there's not enough liquid. If I add more paint to it, I'll probably be able to break it up, see? And I won't need the liquid. I think the big mistake is that most people are not loading their brush correctly. They're still dragging it this way. That goes with experience. It's how much do you grab? Because if I make it, okay, I'm going to show. If I make it too liquefied, too soupy, the problem here is it's not breaking up correctly. Maybe that's where you're struggling. So all I'm making is a bunch of hard edges like watercolor. That's not good. Okay, so this is too soupy now, and that's I can't do the dry brush effect, but I am able to do this. So lots of liquid would probably be good if you're going to put like a lake, so you don't have to do so many brush strokes, or as an underpainting for rocks, right? Because if you can do a strip like this, so I showed you earlier, this one here is not a good one because it's lacking liquid or the paint is too thin. You got to find that it's probably a combination of both, where the paint is thick enough to do this, but not thin enough where you no longer get the broken up effect. So the idea is to find that middle point where the paint feels like toothpaste instead of soup, not like Philadelphia cheese, but like, I think toothpaste. You can probably do that. Just grab some toothpaste and do it on a canvas and you'll see. So it's a matter of practice where you start to feel that the paint has that consistency. So remember, I'm dragging it this way to load, okay? So when I go like this, okay, so when I do this, see, I'm getting that breaking up effect, which means that it's not too soupy and it's not too thin. Remember, too thin, I'm going to get this. Too soupy, I'm going to get this. And this is what you want. Okay, so it's got to feel tacky. See, when I put my liquid in here, it felt soupy, like my brush was sliding and slipping. When I did this, I felt it too thick, like I had to force it on the brush. So it's sort of tacky. Now the brushstroke, there are several ways to do it. I combine going it like this way, and then sometimes I turn it this way for variety. See, because that gives that nice little effect on the side there. And then every now and then you take the corner and you can create the leaves. Okay, so just to review, I can take my paint right out of the tube. Mix a little bit on my palette just to get the hue correctly, yellow-orange. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of white to it. Okay, I didn't add any liquid to this at all, none. It's right out of the tube. So I can feel it's very thick. So if I go like this, it's a little bit too thick and it's not really breaking up. It makes fuzzy edges there, right? But I can take my liquid and directly mix it in here and then push it around. It doesn't have to be on the palette. A little bit more maybe. Mix it in there. Remember, keep rotating your brush because sometimes you can run out of paint, so don't insist. Your brush, you should not insist to get the paint on. You should not be doing things like this. The moment you're doing something like this, there's something wrong. It's got to be with just a few strokes here. See, with one stroke, no fiddling with it. Should go on easy. That doesn't look good. Lots of doing it this way. And so I'm grabbing that pile that I mixed right here in the middle. And then I'm pushing the paint around now. You're never going to get the tree to work if you're going to drag your brush like this and make it thin. No matter how much liquid you put on there, you're not going to get the form. It is fat over lean, Mike, but the problem is it's not clear to most people what that means. I don't like the term because it's confusing. It should be more buttery, thicker on top of less buttery and thin. So that says more. In other words, a good way to look at it is peanut butter. You spread peanut butter thinly, right? And then what you do is you take some, let's say, jam, raspberry jam, and then you spread that on top. It's more liquefied. It's looser, the paint, so you can spread that on. But you can't put the peanut butter on top of the marmalade or the jelly, right? Okay, so yeah, so thick paint is very necessary. But I mean, it doesn't have to be a super big blob. I mean, here, it has to be something reasonable. Probably not even as much as toothpaste. Just some kind of that's enough for the whole tree, by the way. I don't need more paint than I can do the whole tree with that amount. So you scoop it up anyway. There's no sense scooping, adding, scooping, adding, scooping, adding. Just do the whole thing like this. See, add a little bit more liquid to it. Scoop. See, I can use that brush for almost the whole tree. If it starts to break up, if it starts to get fuzzy like hair, add more liquid to it. Yeah, so that whole blob will do the whole tree. Well, maybe a little bit more, but it can do a good portion of the tree. Don't forget to do these little things here, and that's where you grab the edge of the brush, remember, that's where you load the brush this way. So you get you dry brush this way and it breaks up. Okay, so I'm sure that you're going to be able to get that right. So remember, anything, just keep this in your mind. If you have to struggle to get the form, or you have to struggle to get the paint on there, like if you find yourself staying in one spot over and over and over, something is wrong with the consistency of the paint. There should never be a need that you go over and over massage the paint. Never, and under any circumstance. The moment you catch yourself doing that, something is wrong. So you got to go back and say, everything should spread on easily. And that's when the painting becomes really fun, because you produce forms in minutes rather than, going like that and then playing it a little careful with a little brush like this just to get the drawing just perfectly well like this. Let the happy accidents happen. That's the sign of a professional artist. Just let the paint do the work for you. This is a bristle brush with a convex form to it, right? Evergreen trees is a little bit different because you don't break up the paint like that. You're jabbing, right? So there I'm going to go to my synthetic brush, which is thinner. You need a little bit of fuzziness, but instead of painting them like this, unless they're really, really big, an evergreen tree, let's say about that size. Now you're going to do this kind of jabbing technique where you push it forward like this, okay? But still the paint has to break up, so the consistency has to be the same. Okay, so I'm going to grab some more white. Okay, you want me to... Okay, that's tacky, but that might work. I see. I don't. Let me see a little bit grayer than that. Okay, so I didn't add any liquid to it. Let's try it first. So remember, if my evergreen tree is like this, I don't know if this is going to be perfect or not. So it's better that I start a little sample in the middle. And if that's breaking up nicely, then I can go on to the contour. Does that make sense? It's just like wet on wet with watercolor. So it doesn't expand on you and you lose the form. Once you wet the paper, you do a little test run inside the shape because you know you got margin before the paint advances towards the contour. So I think I need just a little bit here. So let's see, I think I got the consistency just right. So I'm going to jab. So you want that one, that has to be a little bit fuzzy. You can also pull out like this. See, I'm jabbing this way. Remember, you want to reduce your bows. Fill in the middle, no problem. I'm getting too many too many zigzag forms now. See, that's a little bit too fuzzy, so you add more liquid than when that happens. And you can go right over the same form to correct it. And then you can also tap. There it is. So pushing forward and then tapping. You can, if you got the consistency of the paint right, you can also tap these in like this, see? You get some nice forms when you do that as well. Probably even better than what I did. A little bit more liquid. A little bit more liquid. See, when it gets fuzzy, you keep adding liquid. Well, that's what I'm doing too, Jude. But you know why, though? Because what you need to do is do a test run in the center of it first, right? It'll grow if you start right at the contour and you don't get it right, you're going to keep adding. So that means until you get it just right? So you go bigger and bigger because you step over it. But if you start in the middle and do a test run first, and then work your way out, then you know the consistency of the paint's correct. Okay. So remember, we got the 12 o'clock, 1, 2, 3, 11, 10, 9. You don't have to do the rest. So the tile stroke basically is little test run in the middle. All right. What I mean by tiles is that you create little, not so much little tile, but little clumps like this. One clump, another clump, another one, Another one. Do not do this. It's got to be like every, just little, like you go putting tiles on, ceramic tiles on your kitchen floor. So that one's going from 12, 1, 2. Then you do another one, 12, 1. See what's happening there? That's no good. See that? You don't want that. You don't want the little fuzzy stuff. That means more liquid. There it is. See what happened? Like, I don't have to struggle. I don't have, no, never are you supposed to massage the paint to get it on there. Okay, now I'm going to 2 o'clock, 3. See, like this? Then you start another clump down here, but a short one. 1, 2, 3. And again, more liquid because it's starting to get fuzzy on me. So basically what you're doing is you're building it up with tile, 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 smaller one, then another tile, then another tile, then another tile, then another tile, another tile, another tile, another tile, another tile, little clump. Okay, does that make sense? So you just go 1, 2, then sometimes like this, tile, tile. It's getting fuzzy on me. Ultimately, later on, you want to variegate by the same token, but that would be more advanced. So maybe you can always add the colors later, so don't sweat it. That's why you got the thick paint for. Tiles. See, that's a little bit too sticky. There. It's got to spread on smoothly. It shouldn't be like Philadelphia cheese. See my little tiles? One here, one there, another one there. See? Little tiles, little tiles, little tiles everywhere. I'm pretty, oops, you weren't seeing that. Little tiles, little tiles, little tiles everywhere. Okay, so let's say I didn't variegate there enough. See, even though you've been watching for years, if you don't know what to watch for, it can escape you, right? That's what I've learned in 15 years. Some of the most important things about the chemistry of the paint and how wet it is and how thick it is something that I thought it would be second nature that people would figure that out. Now my classes are going to change tremendously. And I believe there's going to be a lot of good results now. Well, watercolor, that's different because you use the paper to break it up. The paper has its grain there that does the work. So what's important is that in general, you still want to get a pizza slice here and a pizza slice there and a pizza slice there. So, you know, that pizza slice there. So it's building up in a series of roundness, but irregular roundness. Now you can see here, you can see the brush strokes going this way and you can feel the brush strokes going that way, right? So you paint things the way they grow or according to the lay of the land. This is important. I'm grabbing pure red now, right out of the tube, pure red. I don't try to mix on my palette what I want here. But once I've done my form, I do not mix on the palette what I want here. I mix on here what I want here. So the only thing I'm doing with the palette now is just grabbing it and just diluting it, because right now I grab the blob, so that's going to be pretty predominant. So what I'm doing is I'm just getting rid of the blob to a point, but that's all it's good for. I'm not going to mix this anymore. I just got a little bit less of it on my brush. So then now I go in and I tack this and I can make it more into a red maple. Now I'm pushing it in, right? I'm not spreading it on top. I'm pushing it in because I'm mixing paint. If you want paint to mix, you push it in. So there goes my red maple. And then if I feel it's too red, then I can mix it in a little bit more. till I get it just right. Remember that under layer is going to protect me. It's a shield against too many garish colors. So I can get it, I can use a pure color right out of the palette and mix it in there. So let's say it's not exactly autumn yet. So I like to add, you know, the other ingredient where you sometimes see a little bit of green that still prevails before all the leaves fall. And that gives us a little bit more of a taste. If that's standing out a little bit too much, I just have to mix it in. You know, like making scrambled eggs. And so we have the best of both worlds there. But look, very dark. Wow, look how dark that is. Woo, 2, 3 values darker. Wow. I don't care. Right now, I just want to get the general, map it out where it's going to go and do my connecting. So where do I start now? Wipe my brush. Well, they're up. You mean a jacaranda tree? Same. This is in general for all trees. So now I start at the top of this and caress the top of that. I don't start at the bottom. At the top. Leaving that dark at the bottom because it's starting to go round on me, right? Round. And then I can determine how much I'm supposed to massage the paint until I get just right. This is the fun part. I mean, no struggle here. It's a little bit too dark. Remember, I can also go forward and do this and borrow to replace with what lighter value and push it into the dark if I got too much of it. So I'm just molding this. Pretend this is like not a brush. It's one of those spatulas for molding clay. I'm sculpting the form now. A little bit of tapping. Don't want to get rid of all my darks. But we're almost there, right? Don't worry if your trees are dark. They normally are dark. Push this around a little bit. It's a little bit dark, but then I can go back with highlights still. Now this is going to be the fat over lean, so I grab quite a bit of light, quite a bit of yellow or pale, quite a bit of red, and scoop. I have to scoop, right? I'm scooping the paint, scooping it. Of course, the smart thing for me would be to come back in, an hour or so and do this, not right away. Why struggle unnecessarily? Remember, you can tap for thin lines. Or you can use the very corner like this for a thin line. And since it's such a staining paint, it won't be a problem. So obviously I have enough paint on the tip of my brush to do this now.